Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy when I come to a WITI conference. When I have a business call, I use headphones. I have to walk in order to think. So who can relate to that? Okay, so who can relate to needing to walk when you're thinking? Okay, how many of you have been given standing desks at work? There's been some really great research on the relationship between standing desks and productivity. I want to talk about a few things this morning. I know there are a lot of new people here, so for those of you who have heard it before, just nod and smile as if you'd never heard it before. So, when I was young, studying to be a teacher, I was really struggling to make a very, very important personal decision in my life. And we had a break in one of our classes, and my teaching college had a beautiful garden outside our classroom. So it had been on my mind. I was struggling with all the upsides and the downsides. I went out into the garden, and I asked myself a question. And that was, what do I want my life to look like when I turn 80 and I look back? And I want to know what is really important to me that I want my life to represent. I have no idea why that question came to me, but I am so grateful. And I have found that questions have been so important in my life in searching for the answers that we all search for along the journey of life. So I'd like to really encourage each of you to step back and to really ask yourself that question. Because when I tell you without any exaggeration that life goes that fast, as I always say, I was 40 10 minutes ago, now I'm 75. I don't know what happened, but here I am. I need people like Cheryl, stand up Cheryl, and Chi-Min, if Chi-Min's here, who have been part of this from the beginning of WITI to remind me, because it went that fast. So the other thing I want to be talking about throughout this conference is choices, encouraging you to really open up to the people who happen to be sitting next to you. Who knows why you're together? But I know when I happen to sit next to someone or someone crosses my path, I really want to know who this person is because it may not be accidental. That person may be coming to me as a teacher. I've had lots of teachers. And all of you have lots of teachers, but some people choose to learn and be open, and other people close down and think, oh, I already know that. Oh, I already heard that before. But we're here at this conference to choose to be open to ourselves, to hear the story. Every one of you have a story that you can discover, and through that story, you will be learning so much about yourself. And what does this have to do with business and technology? Everything. Because I truly have experienced and believe that the highest form of innovation in the work we do comes from having an integrated, spirit that is open to receiving all kinds of information and energy, and that's where genius meets intelligence and opportunity. So I welcome your questions. I thank you for being here, and I want to hear everyone's story who's here. Everyone. That I introduce one of our very favorite coaches, Wendy Wallbridge. Where is Wendy? Okay, great. Thank goodness you're here, Wendy. So Wendy Wallbridge has earned a reputation for establishing breakthrough conversations with women and the way women live, the way women work, because Wendy has a gift of hearing things that most people don't hear and being able to connect the dots in a way that helps her clients and the people she coaches move from where they are to a better place. So we're very lucky that we have Wendy here not only to inspire us and to open us up, but also coaching is critical. I encourage each of you to not only take advantage of coaching here, but if you invest the time in a good coach, it will be life-changing for your career. You'll make so much better decisions. I use a coach still. I believe in therapy, coaching. We need our teachers, right? Does everyone agree with that, or is there someone who wants to challenge me? We need our teachers. Okay, so Wendy, so I apologize. Oh, okay. Wendy's going to tell you about her book because my attention span is about this.
Because I'm happy I belong if you feel like that.
Thank you, Carolyn. Oh my God. I'm so, honored to be part of the WITI tribe. We've, as Carolyn said, we've known each other for a long time, and I gotta catch my breath there. I'm so honored to be part of the, she is such a trailblazer and had the foresight so long ago to see that women in business, women in technology would need each other like we do. And so I'm just really honored to be here and be part of the WITI family. So I'm also really excited to talk to you at the very beginning of the conference because I want to talk to you about something that's really essential, but also is often overlooked. But before I do, I want to ask you a few questions to get to know you. Let's see. Okay, sorry, let's go back. So start with this. Now, if this resonates with you, just raise your hand, okay? Are you actually surprised at how much you've achieved and how far you've come? Yeah, I know, it's amazing. Are you much harder on yourself than you would be to a friend? That's a no-brainer, right? Oh my God. Do you tend to not want to outshine others or cringe when someone else self-promotes? Come on, tell the truth. Okay. Do you find yourself dwelling on perceived failures more than you celebrate your successes? Yes, we've got to work on this. Do you think your work should speak for itself and prefer not to have to talk about your accomplishments? Yeah, well, that's why you're here. This is so great, because I'm going to help you with that this morning. My intention is to have you leave here with more freedom and openness about sharing your light and your gifts, and so that you can actually make some great new friendships and business contacts at this conference today. You know, these things are indicative of some deeply rooted habits that women in particular, not all women, but some women, most women, have, because we kind of download it from the culture that says to us, don't outshine the people around you, don't take up too much attention, and above all, don't be too assertive or aggressive, and definitely be humble and modest, right? Is that the instructions we got very subliminally, I think, in our culture? I know I did. My father used to tell me to pipe down. You know, and as children, we're not piped down. You know, when we're kids and we do a chalk drawing, we're like, look at this is so good. Don't you think this is good? I have a 14-year-old. Oh my God, every single thing he does, he wants acknowledgement and appreciation for. He has no problem asking for it. He goes, doesn't it feel better when I get, he goes, it feels better when I get some appreciation for that. So I'm like, I'm really glad you're free, but wow, I'm still not free. It's so interesting to watch. But as children, you know, I remember being about 9 or 10, and I grew up in a family of 5 girls, and 6, including my mom, so my dad was like overwhelmed. And to get attention from him, which was of prime importance, you had to make a lot of noise. So I remember being at the top of the high dive, shaking, going, look at me, you know, get attention. But as time went on, we find out that's not cool. That's not cool. You're not supposed to do that. So we kind of download this thing about being modest. And if you don't think you have any of that going on, see if you can count the number of times that you say sorry in a day, or sorry in a week. I hear grumblings of, yes, you know what I'm talking about. You know, we probably say sorry more than we say thank you and you're welcome in one day. Lena Dunham recently did a post on it on LinkedIn. She's an influencer there, and she said her title was The Apology Addiction. You know, we say sorry when we can't hear someone. We say sorry when we're interrupted. We say sorry when someone walks too close to us. We say sorry, I'm not really making sense, when we could say, thank you for understanding me. We say sorry when we're late. We could say, thank you for your patience. So we could start to switch that, because it really is deeply, it's deeply enculturated into us, but it is a clue and a symptom of something deeper that is about playing small, that is about kind of hiding our light a little bit. And that's what we want to work on changing. What I loved about what Lena Dunham said was she really praised Beyonce's song Lemonade for being what she called a massive cultural event, because it gives women who are sick to death of apologizing a catchy tune in which they can sing the words, sorry, I ain't sorry, again and again and again. So I wonder if any of you saw the American Billboard Awards. No, not a lot of musical fans in here? Okay, wow, well, I gotta tell you what it is. The Billboard Awards are these, it's like an annual event, and that's really powerful because it's an extravaganza of the most popular current talent in music. So, you know, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, Adele, Drake, all those people are being celebrated. Pink, I mean, really amazing, breathtaking performances. And they were celebrating Celine Dion for her Icon Award. She was getting the Icon Award for her illustrious and vast career that she's had. And I was really kind of astonished at what happened. They showed a montage of her long, vast career, all these clips from when she just began her career, when she was young, when speaking in front of millions of people or thousands of people, and just some of her songs. And by the time the montage was over and before she stepped onto stage, everybody is just completely awestruck. And she steps onto the stage, and she was clearly moved because, A, her husband died a little while ago, and probably that affected her, but she was being acknowledged for this incredible award. And B, her son was giving her the award. So what does she say when she steps up to the podium? What are her first words after we're all blown away by her awesomeness? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm crying. I'm sorry that I'm moved. I mean, I love Celine Dion, and I don't take anything away from her for being moved. But this thing about being sorry, what does it say about our culture that even some of the most successful creative women in the world still say sorry needlessly? So we got to own our greatness, sisters. We got to own our feelings, our flaws, our imperfections, all of ourselves. And most of all, we must own our gifts. Our gifts. You know, this is the thing that I'm here to talk to you about today, is owning your gifts. Whoops, hold on. I do this sometimes. Don't want that. Okay. So each and every one of us, every single person sitting at your table, has signature gifts that's essence to them, that's really nobody else can do it, and that is quirky sometimes, and audacious sometimes, and shy sometimes. But each of us have these things that we can do, these talents that we have, these ways that we contribute in the world that are really unique. And as the famous quote goes, there is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of this time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The great dancer, Martha Graham. So we devote our passion, our purpose, we devote our energy, our expertise, our knowledge, our care, our love to whatever we're doing. In fact, you're giving your life almost to whatever it is you're doing. Your thoughtfulness, your hard work, your intention to contribute, the very best of you. That's what you're giving. And yet, how many of us hesitate to talk about our accomplishments? I saw many hands in the room. So why is that? We think it's important to be modest. But modesty is often false modesty. It's an attempt to not come off as arrogant. When we're genuinely in touch with who we are or our greatness, when we're genuinely in touch even with something great that we did, we're moved, we're humbled. It's humility. When we're in the presence of someone else's greatness, like when I heard Celine Dion's montage, I was moved. You're humbled by it. So there's no reason to be modest. You speak up. It's been measured that modesty has cost us a lot over a course of a career. That when they measure people who haven't done regular salary negotiations, it costs about $500,000 or more. You're nodding, you probably know this. Yeah, over a career, right? We gotta learn this. So that's the thing about modesty. Recognize it when it's in you and question it and ask yourself, is this real? Is this authentic? For many of us, the word self-promotion is a turnoff. The idea of self-promotion is a turnoff. It makes us cringe because we associate it with being fake or trying to get something. Being a bully. So we think our work should stand for itself, and we think to ourselves, well, I don't like to promote myself because people who do that, I hate them, right? I'm sure you've had that thought, right? And that's not bad. That's understandable because there is a way when people promote themselves, when they're coming from ego or false self, that it's a little bit off. It's kind of ew, right? It's not really great. And that's because you can feel that they're wanting something from you that they don't own themselves. So when you are listening to someone self-promote, and you can tell that they don't really feel it themselves, but that they need your affirmation, it can feel a little off. But that's not what most of us are. So most of us can get in touch with the true self, the self that's sort of like the little child that's proud and excited about the thing that you created. That's a healthy kind of pride. And that's also really just exuberant and wants other people to benefit from whatever it is that you did or said or the talent that you have. We need each other to celebrate and to really receive the greatness of who we are. It's okay to tell each other about these things. It's essential that we do. So the first thing you can do is eliminate the word self-promotion from your vocabulary. Because like I said, when you're in the true self, you're not really promoting yourself. You're promoting your gifts. You're promoting your contributions. You're promoting the things that you did in the world that you're proud of, or that you care about, or the mission, or the cause that you care about. So let's reframe self-promotion. It's not self-promotion. You're giving visibility to your passion, ideas, and accomplishments. It's really what you would say if you weren't worried about coming off as being arrogant or bragging. So let's bust a myth. Nora Denzel told me this. So what you were told is it's not what you know, it's who you know. The version 2.0 is it's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows what you know. So I got to credit Nora Denzel with that. She's awesome. So let's face it. So you can have thousands and thousands of followers, thousands and thousands of contacts, but if they don't know what you know, they're not going to be very helpful in your career aspirations, right? So, and you can have lots of people who care about you, but if they don't know about the work that you've accomplished, it's almost like it doesn't exist. I mean, for sure, somebody benefited from it on one end of the thing, but a lot goes to waste when you don't know how to share your accomplishments. It is your job. I almost wrote, when I wrote my book, Spiraling Upward, The 5 Co-Creative Powers for Women on the Rise, little plug there. See, I can self-promote. When I wrote that, the original title was going to be Sole Proprietor, because I thought of it as like, we are the proprietor of our gifts, of our soul gifts, those ones that nobody else has but you, in the unique expression that you have. So we have to think of it that way. And it's really important that you communicate well and give visibility to your work. So what if we reframe? I mean, I know, let's face it, a lot of us don't like networking, right? Right. Yeah. So let's reframe it. What if we weren't talking about our work as calling attention to ourselves, but as ways to serve others? And what if, when you take stock of the value you provide, you are more comfortable sharing accomplishments? So let me give you an example. With all of my clients, from very high level to lower, oftentimes you're tapped for the next thing that you're going to have, like your next gig. You're tapped for it. Somebody says, do you want this? Do you like this? And then there comes a time in your career where that doesn't happen anymore. It's not that you're not getting tapped, but the thing you want isn't going to be found through someone giving it to you, because you want to steer your career. So at that point, you really need to stand in your value. You really need to know how to talk about the things that you've accomplished that you want to do again. You don't want to talk about the accomplishments that you don't want to do again. So you need to learn how to stand in your value and be able to tell success stories and have a benefits-oriented statement, a value proposition of the things that you have done. I'll give you an example of mine. I coach leaders to gain clarity of purpose and vision, to unlock their power and natural brilliance, to step into their place in the world so that they can thrive and flourish, not just for themselves, but in service to life itself. You see how that rings? Because it's not about my job title. Now, many of you know this and have this already, but it's something you need to work on if you don't. And telling shining examples, I call them success stories. In my book, there's a template that breaks it down so that you can just boom, 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 figure out how to tell one fast. So remember, you are the custodian of your gifts. Your true self is the custodian of your contribution. And your true self is generous, exuberant, and is free. It wants to share and help others. So let's shift the focus off of yourself and remember you're just the custodian of your gifts, and they're meant to be shared. And you know, when we're in that place of true self, Carolyn was talking about this earlier, you know to trust the universe, that these spontaneous connections happen sitting at a table with someone. You can trust that those right connections and synchronicities will come to you. You don't have to manipulate and come from that false self and worry that you need to say it in a particular way in order for people to, or you need to talk to the right person. It's just funny how it works. You just trust, be in that true self. So I want to give you 3 ways to think about networking as a way to serve others. Sharing your achievements serves others, A, by potential business partners discover that you could be a solution to their problem. Second, you help reduce the learning curve of others who might have similar challenges. So this is important to think about. When you tell your success stories, if you come from the place of, by telling someone what I accomplished, I'm helping them shorten the learning curve on something that they may have as a similar problem. And when you do it that way, you come across as a contribution, not as obnoxious, okay? And then the last one, and I really love this one, is we need to change what's normal for women and how much we can put ourselves out there. So you change what's normal for women in our culture. Every time you share your gifts unabashedly, you give permission to other women to shine. And eventually, we'll change the collective of what's normal for women in our culture. And a little sidebar to that is, if you notice that you're having the thought of someone else being too braggy, you know, if you have that thought, you want to notice that you have that thought and kind of work on it. Because if you do, you're contributing to the policing of women holding themselves back. Even if somebody is coming from their ego and it's kind of not, you know, the best way they could have said it, maybe they're balancing out all the women that aren't. So let's take advantage of this amazing opportunity we have this today and throughout the next few days to be on the hunt for each other's gifts. Wouldn't that be cool? So think of it as an adventure hunt. It's both looking for someone else's gifts and also challenging yourself to put yourself out there in a more authentic way. So authenticity is something that continues to open for people. Like, you can always be more authentic. And that's the adventure for yourself. Like, that's what makes it exciting and interesting, to be able to keep on doing yourself in a way that's more and more authentic, more and more revealed. So let's get really intentional. Think about, why did you come to this conference? Why are you here? Think about it. Throw out a few things. Why did you come? To get inspired, thank you. What else? To learn, get support. Beautiful. Well, network, okay. So one is to be inspired. How did you know that first answer? By great speakers like Sandy Carter, Cheryl Root, Patricia Arquette. Sandy and Cheryl, by the way, have a wealth of knowledge that goes decades long in the areas in their space. Unbelievable opportunity to be in their presence. And there are so many other great speakers. I was looking at the docket this morning and seeing, like, oh my God, self-esteem and changing your thoughts and innovation, and so much here. There's something here for everyone. Asian leadership. It's an incredible opportunity to be inspired. The second reason might be, some of you got a day off work today and thought, this sounds like fun. I think I'll go hang out with my friends. So that's true, and that's good. That's a great reason. And then lastly, and this one I think is really the one that calls us together as women, is to build community, to make new friends and build your network. You know, I am the producer of TEDx Sand Hill Road Women, and after we did 2 years of that, we spun off into Women's Evolutionary Leadership of Silicon Valley. Women in the Valley really like to come together. They need each other, as you can see. All of our events have been sold out months in advance because women want to come together. We are under a lot of stress, and we come together for those reasons that you just mentioned. We want to be in conversation with one another. You know, I'm sure you've heard that when they studied the stress response in men and came up with the fight or flight, that they found out later that women have a different stress response in addition to fight or flight, that when under stress, women, our oxytocin, the hormone oxytocin rises, which tends to make us want to tend and befriend. And what we do is we couldn't typically run away in the caveman days because we often had a kid in our hands. So we evolved this protective behavior that builds support networks. So when we come together, it's also how we manage stress. I sometimes think before a conference, like, oh, I don't really want to go. But then I go and I'm like, oh my God, I so needed that. Like we often isolate and we need each other. Like where we want to go next as women in the world, and I know there's some wonderful men here too who are supporters of this, but where we want to go next, we can't go alone. It's not the old rugged individualism, Lone Ranger thing. That's not going to work. We've got to share with each other and bring each other along. So I'm going to help you do that. First, I want to just talk briefly about authenticity, just to remind you of what it is. Authenticity is not being baldly frank and expressing your feelings and thoughts just openly and in a way that's not great, right? That's not what it is. Authenticity is self-awareness, it's self-knowledge, it's actually knowing who you are historically. If you think of that statue, the person on the left is like who you are historically, and then knowing what your values are, and aligning your behavior with this openness and these values that you have. That is what authenticity is, like catching yourself when you're being historical and then instead being really authentic, revealing a little bit more of who you really are all the time. It doesn't have to be deep, dark secrets. It can be just something that you don't share normally, and it will make you feel closer. Because if you think about it, into me you see. Intimacy is created by letting people in. So it's wonderful, and it's what we're going to practice in just a minute. And by the way, authenticity, the truth of you is the best of you. Those thoughts that you harbor, like if you have jealousy and you think, oh, I'm so bad, or if you have any negative things and then you judge yourself, that's not you. The true self is the best of you. The truth of you is the best of you. So, and Oprah said, when we see this kind of power shining through someone in all its truth and certainty, it's irresistible, inspiring, elevating. So let's practice, because it really is a practice. First, know that authenticity requires just a little bit of vulnerability. Have any of you seen Brené Brown's Vulnerability TED Talk? If you haven't, please watch. So great. So this doesn't mean you have to bare your soul, but just practice. How do I be vulnerable? It makes it more fun to connect. So what I'd like you to do now is, without talking, turn to your neighbor, pair up. Turn to your neighbor, pair up. You're just going to do a very short exercise that's going to help you get the most out of this conference today. 2 people together, just 2 people together. Pair up. Try not to talk. Okay, raise your hand when you have your partner. Raise your hand when you have your partner. Thank you. Great. Everybody? Good. Okay, the person with the shortest hair goes first. Okay. Do you want to know what you're going to say? Okay, hold it. Thank you. Okay, complete these 3 following sentences, but let me tell all 3 of them to you before you start talking. Okay, you're just going to have a few minutes. Okay, the first one, if you really knew me, you would know. Just complete that sentence with anything that comes to mind. The second one is, one accomplishment that I'm proud of is. And third, what I'd like to take away from this conference is. Simple, right? Okay, begin. Person with the shortest hair, go first. Complete those sentences. What? Okay. You guys were fast. It's fast. They need a little more time. When you're finished, switch sides. I forgot my phone. Yeah. Thank you. The lights are red. Over here. Do it one more. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank your partner. It's good. Okay, woo! Trying to round them up. This is a good shot. Lots of people there. I guess the light is bad. Okay, wrap it up. Thank you. I can't wait. So great. Okay. Woo! Woo! Raise your hand when you're done. Raise your hand when you're done. Raise your hand, close your mouth. Raise your hand and close your mouth. Raise your hand and close your mouth. Excellent. Oh my gosh, wasn't that fun? Tell me, what was that like, real quick? Somebody yell it out. Tell me what that was like. Fun. It got fun. The first one's harder. What else? What did you learn? What did you learn? We're here to learn. What did you learn? Pardon me?
I learned 2 people.
You learned 2 people. That's right. What else? Over here.
So I learned, you're willing to really be open and share yourself. You can get to know someone and they can connect very quickly.
Really right. Exactly. That is the thing I want you to take away. That if you're really willing to share yourself, you will make some friends here today. You will build some connections here today. Otherwise, people will forget you, and you will forget them. You will have their card, and you will go home, and you will look at the card and go, who was that? Right? How many times have you done that? But if you have a connection, as Carolyn was saying, we all have these stories inside of us. Just talking about this, these are the things people would love to know. How can they help you? What do you want to take away from today? How might I be of service? And what have you done that you're excited about? What do you care about? What is your accomplishments? We are now going to do a sacred ceremony that's going to take 2 minutes. Ready? Okay, back into your pairs. The first person goes first is the person with the longest hair. Switching it up. I'm trying to keep you on your toes. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to say this to your partner. I grant you permission to fully shine. It's a really sacred ceremony. You are giving this person. You don't have, I don't know about, you can, that's optional. The dance is optional. But mostly you want to grant this person full permission to shine. So I'm going to say start, and you're just going to have a minute to say it. The other person, I want you to take it in, be quiet, don't respond, and then the other person goes and say it to the other person. But really take it in before you do it to the other person. You know, we're so good at helping others, but get it. Really get it. You are getting granted permission to shine all of your light today, okay? Go ahead, start. Weird. Okay. Raise your hand and close your mouth. Thank you. Raise your hand and close your mouth. I have to stay on time here. Raise your hand, close your mouth. Raise your hand and close your mouth. Okay, thank you. Thank your partner. Thank your partner. Okay, we have just a couple more things. Please, be quiet. It's so great how connected you are. Oh my God, everybody in the room is now granted permission to fully shine, okay? So great. Now, just a couple more things to get really practical. I'd like you to make some assumptions about today. Here are the ones I'm going to suggest that you take on. Every person here would benefit from meeting me. Can you own that? Own that. Every person here would benefit from meeting me. Second, when I extend myself with the intention to befriend and share, not to get something, it's an act of generosity. You know that, right? Yes, obviously. Okay. Last, when I stand in my power and value, it gives others permission to do so. Can you remember that throughout today? Take a picture of that if you need to. Remember that. Those are some assumptions to make throughout the day. Okay, now we get practical. We're going to give you some instructions for how to do today. Make a commitment to engage with at least 3 more people at the conference. Try this. Everybody get out your phone so you can take this with you, and you can refer to this. So you can say this. I'm going to give you the words. You have a script, okay? We haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. I'm blank. I'm Wendy, and I'm in charge of blank at my company. So everybody here is in charge of something, right? Can you think about what you're in charge of? Yeah, I'm in charge of something. Or you could change that a little, but that's the preamble, okay? So take a picture of that and make sure to say that. And then one thing I'm proud of or passionate about is, great. You're going to say that to 3 new people, and they're going to say it too. And one thing I'd like to learn today is. So that's giving you the training wheels to really be sure that you commit to meeting at least, and really meeting, and knowing, and being vulnerable with 3 more people. So how many of you are willing to take that commitment on? Raise your hand. Yeah, 3 people. Everyone here is committed to meeting and engaging with at least 3 new people other than who they've already made best friends with here at the table. Sure. Oh, go back. Oh, to the one before? I can also share this. I can share this deck with you. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'll put it up there, the whole deck. And then the last thing is, I'll get it to you. Okay. If you would like a 24 numbered self-assessment on your readiness to rise in your company and in life, You can, and also be on my mailing list, and get a free chapter of my book, Spiraling Upward. You could text right now the word spiral to 66866, and you will be signed up and you will get those gifts in the email. So it's the word spiral to 66866, and you'll receive that self-assessment, which is really powerful. It has a lot of good suggestions about how to rise, and a free chapter of my book. And I hope you'll come to my book signing at noon, where I'll be signing books at wherever the bookstore is. So with that, I think I'm done. Thank you very much.